I could not be more excited, one, that you all are here having this conversation with us, but just as importantly, that Shady and Joy are going to be the people that I get to partake in this conversation with. A lot of great thoughts were shared before the show. Glad to have them with y'all now. My pervasive thought around Ja Morant is this, that for so long in society, there has had to be a qualification of who you are. As a man, as a woman, as a human being, we often try to qualify who we are, play a certain character. Well, Ja Morant is a black man, and so it appears to me that Ja Morant is trying to qualify his blackness, trying to qualify his hoodness, trying to qualify that he is some degree of a macho man that society wants him to be. Ja Morant is choosing a life that did not choose him. So now the question is, why is he doing that? It is as if in society now, black people have to be a monolith. At least black men have to fall into a category of, well, you have to be, talk a certain way. You have to walk a certain way. You have to watch a certain movie. You have to buy a certain shoe. You have to carry yourself in a certain manner to qualify yourself as black. Your experience is your expertise. So my experience is knowing that all too well. Though I'm 6'2", 240 in a black frame, I went to private school, two-parent home. Parents been married, I believe, for 38 years now. So, Shady, growing up, I would often hear, man, Acho, you black, but you not black. I mean, you don't even talk like you're black. You don't even walk like you're black. Acho, you're like an Oreo. Black on the outside,
Is that an Oreo?
white on the inside. Now, at 32 years old, I can handle that in totality, but at 13 years old, I could not. And at 23, I doubt I would be able to handle it in the same manner in which I can handle it now at 32. Now, I am not going to project my life experience upon Ja Morant, not at all, although he did grow up in a two-parent home and he went to high school from what I have researched in the suburbs. I'm not going to project my life experience on him. What I will say is I have had to, and I understand having to try to qualify something, qualify your blackness. I'm not speaking about black skin color. I'm speaking about black, the culture. So I can understand why Ja Morant might feel the need, if this is a part of the motivation for his actions, might feel the need to qualify himself. Maybe is more hood than he grew up. Maybe is more thug than he grew up. Maybe is more gangster than he grew up, because society, at least a certain sect of society, continues to put pressure upon people to be something that they are not. And I can say through firsthand experience, I have felt that pressure. And as a young adult, I may have caved to that pressure. Maybe not the same degree, but caved nonetheless. Joy?
Well, this is a very layered, nuanced conversation. And it really hurts me when you say things like it's painful to hear you say that you be looked at as less black because you have two parents in your home, because you had a father in your life. Like, that's crazy that we would even use that as a qualification for what makes you a man and a black man. And that's based in so much historical white supremacist talking points and mentality that's just been carried over really from slavery. And I'm sorry to go on this tangent right now, but that's really what it is. Like, black men, black people had to be dehumanized and made to feel and made to appear like we don't feel the same level of pain, like we don't have the same sensitivities in order for slavery to exist. And trickle-down effect, here we are. You have to qualify yourself as a black man by acting a certain way. In some ways, I agree with you. I feel like this is a bigger cultural conversation of what we expect black men to show up as. It's not a monolith. And I don't think that's the sole problem here. I think the problem surrounding Ja Morant is he has the wrong people around him. He has people who don't care about his career as much as they need to, that are encouraging him to be in these spaces and take it to this extreme. In reality, what did he do that was wrong was enter into the space of violence, the guns, the laser, the situation with the 17-year-old. That's why we're worried right now, because we are afraid that this is going to turn to wrong place, wrong time, or a situation that can't be undone. But to me, it's a very layered conversation. There's a lot that we're going to get into here. To me, the bottom line is he needs to recognize this is a very critical time in his life, and the decisions that he's making, the people that he is surrounding himself with, are not keeping him from situations that could turn violent, which is why we are all concerned, which is why the NBA is investigating, which is why the police are investigating, which is why he's away from the team. So no one's exaggerating the seriousness of the situation. That said, I was in my early 20s once, and I made a lot of bad choices. I made bad choices throughout my 20s. It takes a long time to get to a space where you have full confidence in yourself. I don't know Ja Morant personally. None of us really know what his insecurities are, what his fears are, what is leading to these choices. And I can also very much relate to the need to almost do something that's self-destructive, or that you free yourself of the inhibition of any kind of consequences. I can relate to that feeling. But when you have a daughter, which Ja Morant has, when you have a career that can be taken away like that, which Ja Morant has, and you have a life, like forget the career and the talent and the life and the daughter, like him as an individual man, you have so much to offer the world outside of basketball, just who you are as a person, to put yourself in a situation where you could jeopardize all of that or encourage and attract violence is why everyone's concerned.
Shady, what do you make of the Ja Morant situation?
It's tricky, man, and I've been seeing a lot of people comment on it. And this is different. This is like, from what we do, we always comment on, like, can he play basketball? Can he be coachable? Can he win a championship? This right here touched me more because I've been in his shoes, right? And I think, and I see where you guys are going with it. I'm going to go a different perspective on it. And it's hard to be a young, black, successful athlete at such a young age, right? And I get what you were going to as far as sometimes as black men, we got to act a certain way to be accepted. I think this situation is a little different. I think when I really just learn about Ja Morant and his background, I try to look at myself, and it's like he has to mature. I think that's the biggest concern is maturity. He's 23 years old. He's a $200 million guy, right? The thing is, when you grow up in the hood, neighborhood, whatever you want to call it, and these same friends that may not be the best for him, some of them friends that we talked about probably went to church with him, went to school with him, and they probably had things going on. But to them, the friends, he's Ja Morant. To Ja Morant, those are his friends. The thing is, as you get older, you got to evolve. Where now, I have friends like that. And the difference is now, when we hang out, let's take our kids to Disney World. I could pay for it. He could pay for it. We're going to hang out and do stuff like that, right? We're not going to carry guns. I've been in situations where when I was young, I carried guns. And I had a father, right? My father was great, right? Married for 38 years like your parents. The difference is at a point where my father's not always going to be with me. Ja Morant's dad did a great job, I think, with him. People were giving him backlash about his father. I think his dad did a great job with Ja Morant. The thing is, he's not going to be with him every day. Mm-hmm. And there's times where I had to make good decisions and bad decisions. Vice versa. Same thing with Ja. Good and bad decisions. We're going to make bad decisions because we're still young. Think about this for a second, Acho. Not only when you become 21, 22, 23 years old, you get all this money, all this fame that you never had, you instantly become the head of the household. Mm-hmm. Ja Morant is not just only the head of his household. He's the head of his household with all his friends. So think about this. When one of his best friends he grew up with, right, that might need money for something, his mom might need something, they're going to come to him, right? So even the thing with the gun situation is wrong. It's definitely wrong. But it's about growing. Think about this. Now, when I got drafted, I started making some money. I got my own gun, right? My friends had their guns. That's just what you see in the hood growing up. At 12, 13, I seen guys with guns. It's protection. But now that you have that type of money and that type of status, you got to think like that. He's 23, still young, he's not thinking like that. So now, instead of you having a gun, Ja Morant, let the security guard have a gun. These are things you got to learn. And the only way you learn is from growing. And I think that people love to talk about it like it's so easy to do. He should do this, he should do that. That was dumb. You don't see it like that. And I think that the way that he could move on and evolve is when they take something from you, that means, something that you grew up loving to do, play basketball. Since you've been a little boy, your dad training with you, your sister plays ball, it's what you love to do, it's your career. When they take it away from you, now you sit back. Now you don't blame them friends. You start thinking about them friends. Okay, this friend right here, yeah, he loves me, got love for me, but is it the love that because he can gain something from me, or is it the love that he cares about me? Because growing up in the hood, you have guys, they call them OGs, they call them big homies, they call them big bros. If you don't have an older brother or a father figure, you have somebody to tell you right from wrong. Nah, Shady, you can't be out here too late. You gotta go home. You got a career, right? And there's some friends that might keep you out there because that's your boy. But there's other situations where you don't have that, and you have an OG to say go home. I just think Ja Morant needs to look at his career and reevaluate it, because now, if things get spicy and the cops are involved now and investigation, things go the other way, now your career is involved. So I just hope that it's about learning and making the right decision.
I got a question for both of y'all because, Shady, you said it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. Joy, you spoke earlier, and you also said what Ja Morant did is wrong. But I think we have to at least, let me allow the viewer to understand, there are two lenses to look at this. What Ja Morant has done is based upon the NBA legality wrong, based upon society legality wrong. But let me ask you first, Joy, and then Shady, I'll ask you the same question. But is it culturally wrong? Because I don't think that the viewers truly understand. Ja Morant is also navigating through aspects of right and wrong. There's legally wrong, and then there's culturally wrong. And it's something, Joy, I think that you spoke to. So speak to the aspect of what might be legally wrong might actually be culturally accepted, or you could go furthermore and even say culturally esteemed at times.
Well, I think there's a line, right? We've seen athletes be in this situation before. Mark Spears wrote a great article today comparing Ja Morant's situations to Carmelo Anthony. It's a very, very similar timeline of starting to be in behaviors and in situations and circumstances that could really jeopardize your career, and having a moment, like Shady said, where something's taken away that kind of, or could be taken away, that kind of gives you clarity and growth in the situation. I think there are definitely some validations up to a point that are culturally accepted. It's now that it's passed into a space where it could create violence, that everyone is like, okay, we've taken it too far. It's gone too far because it is legal, because it could result in something awful happening, something tragic happening. So yeah, I would agree, but I think that's really where Ja has to evaluate. Shady just talked about it. There's friends who will make sure you go home. Make sure they're watching for you. Ja's in a very unique situation. We've all been young and done dumb things. I've done so many incredibly stupid things, very dangerous things that could have put my life in danger, other people's lives in danger, ruined my life, many bad decisions. It's about setting boundaries with yourself, setting the expectations that you want for your life, and holding people around you as accountable to what you want for their behavior as your behavior, because that's really what it is. You are what you surround yourself with. If you want to be in great shape, you're going to surround yourself with people who want to work out. If you want to be successful, you're going to surround yourself with people who also want to be successful. That's just what it is. It's your environment. And when you become an adult, and this is what our parents always try to tell us, but when we were young, we didn't listen, is what you surround yourself with is what you become. You are what you habitually do. So to me, that's really where Ja is right now. He's at a crossroads in his life where he has to decide, how is he going to define himself as a man? Forget what people expect of me. Forget what I'm supposed to represent. Forget what people culturally want me to be, or if I'm supposed to be the face of the NBA, or what my family wants me to be. What do I want to be as a person, as a man, and as an individual?
And I just feel like you say culturally and what's your,
legally.
Legally, we don't know if the gun was registered or not,
right.
So I can't go into that. But even culturally, like, even when you say that, I mean, like, it's learning. Like, he had a gun on him, and then this guy's worth $200 million. So if he shouldn't have been flashing on Instagram, I understand that. But then when you take a kid that is 1% of the world, think about this. How you go from 21, 22 years old to making millions of dollars, all this fame. Nobody can go through that, right? But Bob, or not even Bob, but whoever is in that 1%. Yeah. When they go through that, it's a different lens. So he has to see himself as, okay, wow, I'm Ja Morant. I'm the franchise player. I'm in $1 billion business. He got to see himself different. And that's all of this growing and learning and maturing. I feel like I hate it went like this, but these are learning steps, you know, and everybody's trying to, he should be smart, he should do this and that. It ain't that easy, man. It ain't that easy. And I just think that Ja Morant going forward, I think now he's aware. He's aware that I'm not Ja from South Carolina.
All right, what then, Shady? Because you were the highest paid at your position. You were a superstar athlete. You are still a LeSean McCoy, will be a Hall of Famer one day. What would your advice then be to Ja Morant? Because they say a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. A fool learns from his own mistakes. So if you don't want Ja to be a fool and you want him to be a wise man and learn from the mistakes of others, what would LeSean McCoy's advice to Ja Morant then be?
I would tell him this. I would tell Ja Morant, I would say, you know, look at yourself as a business, right? Don't look at yourself as Ja Morant from the hood or Ja Morant from South Carolina. Look at yourself as a business. And every step and every decision you make, it could be your last. It could better you or worsen you. And you never want to put yourself in a situation where now they're trying to take the game you love, to see the game that supports your family, the game that supports your daughter. You never want to get in a situation like that where now it's at risk. Every decision you make can be your last. And I will say this, every step is learning steps. right? It's okay to learn. It's okay to make mistakes and respond. It's how you respond, how you get up. Another thing I would tell him is never go somewhere. I've been places where I had friends with me. We've been in bars where it was an it bar to go to. Guys in the year, 5, 6 guys and lost their lives in there, but it's the place to go. And when I'm young at 23, 22 years old, I'm going to that place. I got my gun on me, my boys got our guns, and we going. We're not looking for trouble, but we're prepared. And I had to realize, man, I'm risking so much. I got in some trouble, right? I've been sued so many times for different things, places I shouldn't even have been. I wasn't doing nothing wrong, but I was there. And I think with John Morant, I would tell him, never go somewhere where you're the richest man in the room. Never go somewhere where you have the most to lose.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.